Hey, what's up everybody? Bdf 44 coming at you with another video. All right, I feel pretty good, really good actually. It's draft day, so y'all know this is one of my favorite days of the year. It's like a holiday around here, especially this season since I've been doing so much homework on these players. Of course, the NBA didn't made it so that it's 2 different days for the draft. First round is today, second round tomorrow, same time. I'm not thrilled with that, but I understand why they did it. There's a couple of reasons why I think they did it. They could break it up. The second round was a drag for casual fans. They were able to jazz it up with the second day, kind of prop it up a little bit better, give it a different format. So I kind of like what they did with it, but I prefer it be one day. And it's good for strategy too when you see what happens in the first round, and you have a night to consider what to do with the second round. So it's good for a lot of parties involved that they do it 2 different days. Of course, for ad revenue, you know what I mean? Jazzing it up means that it's better for the ad investors and stuff like that. So I get it, but I grew up on it being one day, and I prefer it all just being a lump sum, but that's not how that works. So yeah, man, just moving forward, looking forward to this first round today and enjoy that. And got to pay these folks, so you know how that goes, making that priority number 1. But yeah, man, just thinking about some things I was troubled by, man, honestly. That really didn't have much to do with me. I'm doing all right. Kind of frustrated that I got to spend as much money on this damn cell phone bill that I do, because it tacked on all these late fees and stuff like that. So I got to pay $110 at the end of this week, and then $110 another week. It's frustrating, but that's just what it got to be. So, you know, kind of tapped out. Plus, I got to prepare for the room next week. So it's a lot going out. A lot more than I necessarily want to spend has to go out this week in order to keep the lights on pretty much for my life. But you know, I'm fortunate the Lord has given me a way to make all of this happen. So thankful that my uncle is still helping me just the same. You know what I mean? It's a lot of good going on there. So it's a bunch of numbers, but I shouldn't be as stressed about it as I find myself being. But what I'm really frustrated about that had nothing to do with me is just some things that are troubling me. You know, as I mentioned, my childhood friend. I haven't mentioned her name, but she tends to take positions that are just opposite of what it is that I agree with as it pertains to Islam and stuff like that. She's really anti-Islamic, like heavily hates those people, and doesn't, you know, she takes the position as if they are behaving the way that Zionists are behaving. And so she eats all that slop, and she's pushing pro-Zionist slop basically. Or pro-Zionist narratives, rather. I haven't seen her say anything about supporting Israel, but all that Islam stuff, she posts a lot of that, and it's really offensive to me as somebody who's been watching this genocide as closely as I have, as somebody who's been seeing the humanity of these people firsthand based on all of the different avenues that I have to see people in the Middle East as human beings. There's so many avenues, and victims as well. I went to sleep last night and saw one of the most horrific images that I had seen in this genocide. There's a man walking down the street holding a child who had been martyred in the genocide, and their head had been severely destroyed. And it's like he's walking down the street, and they're zooming in on the carnage, and it's a child that's probably no older than like 5 years old. Like, and so when I see stuff like that, and then I see one of my childhood friends posting rhetoric that is just dehumanizing to the same people that I'm watching go through this, it's troubling, very troubling. I believe that you can dehumanize anybody if you want to by picking stereotypes in all of their groups and making it the forefront of what it is that you represent those people in being. And you could do the same with people, just the same in the human side. You could take somebody who's a good representative of people and humanize them, or look at people who are troubled and put forth a narrative that makes it so that you're sympathetic to whatever their troubles are. You can always do that. And I think that when people try to, as I mentioned many times, generalize people or put a blanketed label on individuals, you tend to not leave room for either. Do I believe everybody in the Islamic faith is a wonderful person? Of course not. Do I believe everybody in the Islamic faith is a horrible person? Of course not. But do I find myself frustrated with the dehumanization of their people? Yes, especially in the times we're living in. And so that's really my take on things. I just want to see the Lord move in her life in a way that opens her eyes to the harm that she's doing to people that she believes deserve it, that I don't believe deserve it. And then furthermore, awaken her to an understanding of what it is that's actually out there. Because what she believes she's standing for are righteous things to stand for. Unfortunately, though, she's pointed in the wrong direction. There are people out there doing that stuff, and they do need to be pointed out. It's just not the people she's pointing at. And so I don't know her well enough in this era of my life to bring that to her. I don't think I've ever known her well enough to have these type of conversations. But I grew up around her. We went to many schools together throughout the course of my childhood years. We went to just one school. We went to children's club together. We went to elementary school together. Like, I know her well. Her mom knew my mom. I know her sister well. I knew her grandmother. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is somebody that I was very close to at one point. And I watched her grow up. She watched me grow up. We know one another, but not as grown-ups. And so I don't know what's driving her to take these positions. I understand she's a Christian woman, and I've agreed with a lot of what she's posted in that regard. But she's been on this mission lately to just smear people of Islamic faith. And with what it is that I'm watching, I know she's pointed in the wrong direction. It's not even a question of whether or not she's pointing in the wrong direction. I know who wants her to say those things to. And I know that they are the people that she actually should be pointing that vitriol at. And so it's frustrating, but this Christian Judaism, Judeo-Christian movement is a real thing, man. The people got people's heads wrapped up in pointing vitriol that should be pointed at them, at people who don't deserve it, at people that they're victimizing, at people that they're ultimately trying to steal land from. And it's evil, it's wicked, and it's troubling when you see people you know and love be buying into the demonic slop. It's troubling. It's bothered me this morning in a way that it hadn't bothered me before. And I don't, like I said, I don't know her well enough to bring it to her. I don't want to start a fight with somebody I've never fought with, never had a disagreement with in life. Don't have a disagreement with her in any other subject. But this vehement rampage she's on to dehumanize Islamic people is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And I know she needs to be shown what it is that I'm seeing so that she can stop this nonsense. That's really what it comes down to. And then the other thing I'm seeing is just some of the people that I follow, they're really struggling with drugs, man. Like, people that I see in this pro-Palestinian fight, one of my favorite people to follow is really struggling with drugs. And I'm not her judge, you know what I mean? And I don't know her. I've never met her. But, like, you can tell when somebody's strung out. Growing up where I've grown up and seeing the things that I've seen, it don't take long for me to tell when somebody's struggling with pills or struggling with coke or struggling with something like that. And I see that one of the people that I really, really appreciate a lot, she's been going through a lot. She's been through a lot, and she's handling it, trying to cope with the problem by partying a lot. And it's you could tell she's struggling with the pills and stuff. So that's really what it was. That was troubling this morning. I'm like, wow, man, I don't want to see her go down this path. There's a lot of these people who are taking this position against Palestine. They're really young people, man. There's not a lot of older people that even know what's going on. And, you know, it's most of the people that are fighting the hardest are like under 33. And so this is one of the really young ones. She's only probably 25, 24. You know, she's in her party stage, the pill popping stage. You know, I struggled too when I was young. But when you have such a strong position to take, a strong calling, and you're surrounding yourself with people who can really make a difference, and you're using your voice to push in the right direction, you can really destroy goodwill by not being in your right mind. It's important that people that have taken such strong positions be present, you know what I mean? And that your lacking presence can be manipulatable eventually. You could become desperate to keep what you got going, and it can send you down the wrong path with your mind twisted. I know this from experience, how it can compromise you when you have an addiction and you're relying upon substances. You know, for me, it wasn't something that would otherwise make it so that my voice would be different, but how I spent my money was different. What I prioritizing feeding that demon over things that otherwise mattered more to me if I were sober and wasn't enriched in that demon. And so this is just something that comes to mind. Young people got to really deal with that, especially those who are taking positions, political positions, people who are taking humanitarian positions. It's important that they keep their heads on straight, because it can throw your entire motion off if you are struggling with something that's going to keep you compromised and keep you prioritizing it over whatever your point of view is, or whatever it is that your point of emphasis should be. So that's what concerns me there. That troubled me a little bit this morning, just seeing how strung out she looked in one of the posts. I mean, it's bad, like, Jesus. You know what I mean? So you just hate to see people go down that path, especially when they have such strong purpose. You know, it's funny, man. I'm looking at all these damn bees, and I know I should be walking away from this. And there's bees all over this thing, so I'm gonna walk slowly away. But I've never, and I'm gonna say this, I have never felt unsafe around bees. I wouldn't try them. You know what I'm saying? I'm not like, this is not something you should do. I understand that they're going after a certain flower over here and they're minding their business. But I've always looked at bees as spiritual friends to human beings. Now, occasionally, just like anything else, you might have one that'll sting the hell out of you, you know, and see you as a threat when you're not one. But they give so much to the earth that I never found myself concerned about their stinger. Plus, I always looked at it as a heavy investment to sting somebody, because once that stinger comes off their body, they only got but so much longer to live. So they're going to choose wisely in a lot of cases, as an intelligent being, not to commit suicide to defend themselves against whatever. It's really an aggressive weapon that they have when you consider the stinger does ultimately kill them. So I've never felt bad energy around bees. I've always felt like they never saw me as somebody who was either afraid of them nor looked to harm them. And I've never been stung, knock on wood, don't want to be. But just said that because I'm looking at a bunch of bees flying around this tree that I'm hovering under. But I think that they're a friend to human beings, and I've heard of many instances where people are trying to destroy them and more or less bring about a certain unsafe nature to their presence for reasons that don't have anything to do with bettering humanity or bettering the earth. And since they give so much to the earth, I would say that we need to protect the bees, and we need to make it a point of emphasis when we consider our humanity to try to stand for their rights. I think not only for the betterment of them, but for the betterment of us and what it is that they bring to this world. So I just wanted to say that, man, since I'm looking at bees. Not something that was on my mind beforehand, but there's a mission out there from some really powerful evil people to destroy the world, to rid the world of bees for their own intentions, and those intentions are not for the betterment of humanity at all. So we need to be aware of people who are trying to destroy our environment for the sake of their own imperial intentions, industrial intentions. We need to be aware, very aware, that entity is out there. They got a lot of money, and they're moving in the direction that's going to try to rid the world of not only bees, but a lot of other stuff that helps the world be healthy. And so that's just something that I know for a fact. But yeah, that's pretty much what I got to say, man. Prayers out for everything that I've talked about here. Prayers out to the people, who need help in whatever way you do. And find purpose, man. Find purpose in your life so that you're not feeding demons for a living. A lot of people are they really are feeding demons for a living. They don't really have any other purpose other than to make themselves feel good, doing things that are going to hurt them. Find purpose, man. Find purpose in your life. And don't trust anybody that wants you to believe some blanketed statement about other people. There's good and bad in all colors, shapes, sizes, religions, sexes, orientation, whatever the hell you call yourself. There's good and bad everywhere you look. Sometimes indoctrination can emphasize more of one or the other, which is something that we have to be honest about too. But genuinely and generally, you can find good and bad everywhere. So don't just think everybody's everything just because you're trying to properly survey something and you don't know how to do that other than to label it. That label is flawed, heavily flawed, regardless of what that label is. Video 44, I thank you all for watching.